Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how I set up the Circuit Tracks Midi template so it is controlling the Dreadbox Nymphes analog synthesizer. The reason why you do that is because on the Nymphes there are the surface controls where you can make changes to some of the main features of the synthesizer, but then also you've got on the Circuit Tracks these control options here, so 8 macro controls which can be mapped to do functions which aren't available on the front panel. So that's really good to get to some of the features that you'd otherwise have to press shift for. So I'm going to do that within the Novation components application, which is why I've got the laptop set up here. I've gone through all of the 100 or so settings and I found the ones which I think are the best fit, both for the naming convention on the Circuit Tracks, because those macros are named, and also to get the best out of the Nymphes in the most easiest performative way. As a change of pace, I'm recording this video in North Yorkshire, so I've got this amazing view of the Yorkshire Dales out of the bedroom window. So what we've got on screen here is the Novation components application. My Circuit Tracks is connected, as you can see by this icon here. That's because it's plugged into the computer and powered on, and so Novation Components recognizes it straight away. I've also got the Nymphes manual, owner's manual, downloaded from the Dreadbox website, open, and that's because it's got the various settings and parameters that you can set when you're changing and creating the Midi template. So I've already created this template, so I'm going to open that to show you the settings that I've got set up already. So I've also made a note of these, and I'll put these in the notes of the video. So these are the 8 different settings that I've applied to the various knob buttons that are available, the knobs that are available on the Circuit Tracks. So the macro one is the Oscillator. That's been mapped to the glide. So when you press a note, if you go a higher note from a lower note, then it kind of does a glide in between the 2 notes, and so on and so forth. These have been selected because they tend to be the most effective for the functions that are available. You may have different needs, and like I say, because we've got the whole setup here, all 89 settings, then you can pick and choose between the ones that you want that are available to you. One thing I would say though is that the first bunch of these, the first, I don't know, 8 or 10 or so, they're already mapped directly onto the hardware of the Nymphes. So I've ignored these because it seems pointless to have those functions mapped in 2 locations, but you may have a different use case, and you may want, for instance, the LFO cutoff depth to be mapped to the let's say the filter frequency on the Circuit Tracks, because you find it's easier to play with in that way. But that's what I've done. And so the thing that you would do, because you won't have this already set up, if we go back to Midi templates, I'm going to create a Midi template, and it gives you this blank screen, and by default all of the CC numbers are set to 1. So I'm just going to change this to Nymphes 2. So I've got something to work with, and then I'm going to go to my notes, and I'm going to change macro 1 to CC 5, macro 2 to 12, and so on. Now I've done that, I'm going to save it, and because I'm logged in, this is saving these settings to my Novation account in the cloud. So again, if I'm logged in on the browser, then I can get access to these as well as offline on my laptop. And again, like I say, because I'm connected, I can then just send this directly to the circuit tracks, and by default I will select the MIDI template one, overwrite the first MIDI template, and that's it. And then what that has done has sent these settings. So now rather than being mapped all to one, they're mapped to the various options, which you can then have a bit of a play with. And I'll move over to the circuit tracks now to show you what that sounds a little bit like.